Paul, it's me, but I thought Pitbull had passed his time. Is he still? I know he did the deal with Texas down in Austin, the SEC official day.
He's not Mr. Worldwide for no reason, Smoak. You don't just, stop being Mr. World. Like at night, he woke up in the morning and goes, you know what? I'm really just Mr. Local right now. No, he's Mr. Worldwide, and maybe he needs to get his name out there a little bit more. So good luck to Pitbull.
Well, Pitbull's in the news today in sports and college football because he is donating money, giving money to Florida International, $6 million over 5 years for the naming rights for Pitbull Stadium, with an option to extend to 10 years for $12 million. He received just over $600,000 last year when Texas's on-campus party occurred down on the campus in Austin and celebrating their move into the SEC. So Pitbull Stadium at Florida International. And good for him. I mean, He's got the money to spend. Maybe use that money from UT as a down payment.
They're going to get some Pitbull events there. And what in the contract says Pitbull adjacent artists, which I'm not sure what that means. Like who specifically is Pitbull adjacent? Like if you called up his agency and you're like, we'd like to book Pitbull. Like, listen, he's solid through the next 2 years. We have several Pitbull adjacent people, and here's the list. I don't know who those are, but I think it's cool. I think it's different. It's unique. And if you're going to have to start, getting it's $6 million over 5 years, what, $1.2 million a year? Something like that.
$1.2 million a year.
So about $6 million over 5 years. And, if you need that kind of money, I think you can do some creative things. We've already seen celebrities like Jimmy Kimmel and Barstool and Snoop Dogg and people like that name bowl games, which I think runs a little cheaper for the title sponsor than $1.2 million, because that's for a lot of games and not just one. But I think that you got to get creative. You got to keep coming up with ideas for stadiums. So if you have a celebrity who wants to name the stadium after himself, I say let it happen.
Will he sing Timber at the halftime performance or wherever concerts he does? I just was online. There's some of these songs that I've heard probably in a cycle or spin class, but other than that, it's not like I download that, and I'm not cool and hip like he is.
Knowing your spin teacher, as I do, I would say that's exactly and the only place you've ever heard them.
Probably has been. All right, so that's that. Good for FIU to get the money. Pitbull Stadium effective pretty darn quick. The Doak Walker Award watch list is out. The Big 12 with a nice chunk of running backs that are included in that list, including Texas Tech's Taj Brooks, Krosky Merritt, Arizona, Donaldson, a couple of players from West Virginia. There's Jaleem White at the bottom. Also DJ Giddens, K-State, Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, who I believe was the winner last year of the Doak Walker Award, R.J. Harvey of UCF, Hinshaw and Neal from KU, Martin, BYU, and Abu Sama III, who had a monster game at the end of last year in the snow, remember, from Iowa State. Then Cam Scatabo, who we've talked about a little bit the last few days, from Arizona State.
I have no problem saying it that the deepest conference when it comes to running backs right now is the Big 12. I think that they've got the biggest list of the best ones. There's some good ones in the Big 10, obviously. I think this is maybe one of the first years, given some of the transition that's gone on, that the SEC maybe wouldn't be in first in that. They lost, look, the best running back in the country might be Quinshon Judkins, pound for pound, talent for talent. I don't know, he's in a timeshare up there with Travion Henderson, who's also excellent at Ohio State. But when you look at the pure depth of running backs, I think the Big 12 kind of has a corner on it right now.
Texas had a couple of names, C.J. Baxter, Jaden Blue, both of them dynamic. So they're on the list. But that's the list. Those are the names of players who are from the Big 12 who are a part of that list, but a bunch of names. There's literally probably 100 names that appear to be on that list. Let's do this one on the Freaks list. So Bruce Feldmen will probably join us, I don't know what day, to come on and discuss his annual The Freaks list. This is something that doesn't mean you're just really good. There's a lot of something special about you, whether it's what you bench or what you do or what you can, how many, like for example, with Travis Hunter can play a couple of different positions. Here are the players from the Big 12 on the list. including Harbor's one from South Carolina. He's not a Big 12 player, but I'm putting up number one. Hunter at
back
2.
to back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Years, yeah.
I wonder how often that's happened since Feldmen started
He
that.
said never.
Never. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have Dominic Orange from Iowa State, the defensive tackle. McMillan from Arizona. Corleone, who's battling the injury and rehab at Cincinnati. And then you have others, including Savanea, who's with Arizona, the offensive tackle. Monterey Baldwin, who can run like the wind, literally. Baylor wide receiver. Savion Williams, TCU. There's also Dingle from Cincinnati. Garrett Green, quarterback at West Virginia. Caleb Rogers, lineman from Tech. And then Ty French, the second player on the list, who is from West Virginia.
101 players total on the list, and there's some really interesting ones to go down. It's one of my favorite articles every single year. With Travis Hunter at number 2 and Nick Harbor the second year at number 1 shows you how ridiculous an athlete and big. Nick Harbor's a wide receiver, but he's built like 2 of them standing on top of each other.
He's 6'5", 242.
Yeah.
And a sophomore.
Yeah.
He just turned 19.
And track speed.
Yeah.
Like
10-1, 20,
like
yeah, 10-100. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got track speed, and curious to see how Shane Beamer gets him involved in the offense this year. And of course, Travis Hunter, I mean, the amount he's able to play, even if he sucked at being one of those things.
Which he does not.
Which he does not. That he's out there doing it as many plays as he is unbelievable.
Yeah. There's a lot of names. 101, as you mentioned. I'm going to go over this list. It might drop you all to faint after. These are the schools that are FCS or other, included in the top 100. I didn't ask Garrett to put the list out because it's monstrous, but listen to these schools. And this is what I love about the list. It's not just the Power Four or whatever you want to say. James Madison, East Carolina, William and Mary, Appalachian State, Navy, 2 from Texas State, 2 from Toledo, Boise State, Marshall, Tulane, Wyoming had 2, Central Arkansas, Georgia Southern, Montana State, Carson Newman, Florida A&M, I'm not done, Buffalo, Elon, Sacramento State, Delaware, Portland State, Florida Atlantic, North Dakota State, UTSA, UT Chattanooga, and Miami of Ohio. That is probably a good 30 or so names that are also a part of the top 101 freaks list from Bruce Feldmen. Texas A&M linebacker, he played high school ball here in Central Texas. Torian York is going to be the one that wears the defensive helmet communication device for the Aggies. That's according to Jay Bateman, the defensive coordinator. This is a young man as a freshman, went on campus, became a baller, and also a tremendous leader where there was a lot of dysfunction at times within Texas A&M, and Torian York, good for him, has been like a beacon in the light and done a great job his first year at A&M.
They've needed their Brian Gamble, their Dat Wynn, their Quentin Coriat. I think this would be fun one day to do an exercise. When you think of a school, what position do you think of first? And I think for Texas A&M, even though the person you might think of first is Johnny Manziel, but if you think about the volume of position and what their identity has been, even from when they weren't as good, but let's just say from Jackie Sherrill on, I would say linebacker is that position. At their best, they always had elite linebackers or guys who were just involved in every single play, like Dat was. Torian York kind of is the intersection of that, where he is everything that everybody would ever want recruiting-wise. You know, he's not a diamond in the rough like Dat, you know, who just had an engine and athleticism that people didn't expect out of a guy his size and strength. But he is your prototypical linebacker, but he's got that heart of a lion that he's involved in all the plays. He's all over the place. He knows the defense really fast. It's a great, brilliant football mind for a young guy, and they have not had that identity for quite some time. I know people, will think of Miami being quarterback U back in the 80s, but I think of defensive linemen when I think of Miami.
Yeah.
That's
and that was the separation, which what Miami did led to what the SEC started to accumulate and also grab as they started loading up their rosters and the difference in what they do on defense. And Dave Aranda told me that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Texas is running backs to me.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And or DBs.
Yeah.
They've had.
But
now, before we get to the Iowa State story, here's the top 10 players. This is according to NFL.com. In the NFL from A&M, linebacker, Leroy Caffey. Sam Adams, defensive line. Charlie Kruger, defensive line.
He's a friend of my
Aaron
father's.
Glein, cornerback. I've lost him here. Where'd we go? Lost somebody there. Jacob Green, defensive line. Richmond Webb, offensive tackle. Ray Childress, defensive line. Jack Pardee, there we go, linebacker. Came out of a six-man football at Cristobal. And then let's see who else they have. Lester Hayes at corner. Always forget sometimes about the attachment to A&M. And then Yale Larry, a defensive back. So, yeah, they got some linebackers. That doesn't even include Myles Garrett. This is an older list. Or Quentin Coriat.
Pup, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, who was a hell of a player to steal for the Cowboys. When we come back,